but also we signed in the Chancellery this agreement with the Ministry for Interior from the German side and Minister of Labor from the Kenyan side, witnessed by all of us. And I would like personally thank you, Rosaline, you and your team for the work that you put into this, and I really enjoyed the cooperation, and I think it was always done in a very good and constructive spirit. So, as I said, this agreement is in the interest of both of our people and both of our economies. Germany is a relatively mature society when we look at the median age. We are in the mid-40s. So if you meet a German, you have a good chance that this German might be 40-something. In Kenya, 42% of the population is below 17. The median age is between 18 and 19. So there you see the difference. And what we see there, I think, is a perfect match in demographics. Because here in Kenya, you have 800,000 to 1 million people that are entering the labor market every year. And as we have seen in the papers last week, only 16% of each cohort are gaining a job in the so-called formal sector. The rest is looking for hustler jobs, Uber jobs, or service jobs, and struggling more or less, even with a very good qualification, even if you studied at university, even if you have done a decent TVET vocational training program. In Germany, it's the contrary. According to studies, we need 250,000 to 400,000 skilled people every year for all sectors. That does not mean that all these 250,000 to 400,000 people are coming from Kenya, of course, because we are doing these labor migration agreements with other countries as well. But it's a sort of open competition. We don't give any quotas to the Philippines or to Morocco or to Brazil or to Kenya, but we are signing these labor agreements with all of these countries, and then according to supply and demand, which is negotiated on the private labor market and articulated also by German companies and their needs, these positions can be filled. And we changed also our law to make it more easier to come to Germany, and I will explain a little bit about this later. So as I said, we signed this agreement in September, but that was not the end of the process, that was more the beginning of a process, because what we have to do now is to bring this agreement into life. And I'm very grateful that both the Kenyan government and also the German government in Berlin, but also here in the embassy, we are doing our utmost to do exactly this, bringing to life the substance of the agreement and producing concrete results. So the Kenyan government, for example, has organized a series of significant events to get German enterprises interested in the Kenyan labor market. And you did a sort of roadshow in the context of President Ruto's visit, going to cities like Stuttgart, Frankfurt, Munich, Berlin, of course, Hamburg, to explain about the qualifications of the Kenyan people and make German companies aware also of the potential. We organized a job fair at Zarit Center on the 30th of September. Some of you might have been there, where we basically informed about the institutional and skilled prerequisites that you need to get a job and employment in Germany, and then also a visa. So DAAD was there, German Academic Exchange Service, Goethe Institute was there, our visa section was there and explained. But we also had some companies there and some Chamber of Commerces that showed their interest. And we did a reception in the evening before this event, and I welcomed also a number of German agencies that will set up shop also here in Kenya to link demand and supply of labor and help you in the process of going to Germany. And I only can recommend you also to test these agencies and not to pay any money in advance. Because we might see, not only on the German side, also on the Kenyan side, a little bit of anarchy in this sector that will be also organized. And the CS Labor made this promise during the conference on the 30th of September that Kenya will introduce a labeling system also in order to qualify the different agencies. And in Germany, for example, we have a label for ethical recruitment in the health sector. And I can only recommend you, if you are a nurse or some specialist in the health sector and you're interested going to Germany, you should work with a company in Germany that has this ethical recruitment label, because then you can be sure that you get a good service, that you don't pay any money, and that this agency is scrutinized by the German authorities and will do a good and decent job for you. So, as I said, what governments are doing in this context of labor migration is setting the framework, but the real action is undertaken by the companies that are looking for labor and, of course, by you, by interested people that have the qualifications and that are interested to go to Germany. So what is this conducive framework that we are trying to provide? What we have done at the German embassy here in Nairobi is to already increase our visa capacities. We have 4 more people, which is a significant increase of 30% of our staff in the visa section. And we already see a significant uptick also in our visa processing for labor in Germany. So when we compare the figures Q3 in 24 to Q3 in 23, it's about between 10 to 20% more than last year. We are above the general uptick that we have in all our visa sections worldwide. So again, Kenya is in the upper part compared to other partner countries with whom we have done these labor agreements. So the next thing that we want to do, and that's our plan for 25, and we discussed this with Deputy President Kindiki, who will join us later this morning, when our Vice Chancellor Habeck was in Nairobi last week, that we have to invest more into learning German, because that very much increases your opportunities finding a job. Right now we have approximately 10,000 pupils in schools that learn German, and we have, of course, a growing number of students that learn German in the Goethe Institute or in private institutions. But we have to increase this number. And the best way to increase this number in our thinking is to train trainers, meaning that we have to get more Kenyan German teachers educated by University of Nairobi and Kenyatta University that then go to the Kenyan school system and be good German teachers. And we are both in contact with the University of Nairobi and with Kenyatta University to increase the capacities there. We will support this. We will try to introduce a Master of German Studies and German Language at Kenyatta University, and we will also increase the capacity at the University of Nairobi Kiambu campus for German teachers. But I can also only invite you to check the online possibilities that exist to learn German. There is a free language course from Deutsche Welle, for example, that you can use. And there are other opportunities, apps and online resources, at least to give it a start. Because if you can speak German, it's not a necessary condition to apply for a visa, but of course it gains you points in our so-called opportunity card. So if you have a sufficient knowledge of German, the probability that you get this so-called D visa to go for 1 year to Germany to look for a job in Germany will significantly increase. So I can only invite you to learn German. What we also will do, or have already done, is that at the delegation of the German Industry and Commerce in Nairobi, we have created a small unit that helps German companies to find suitable talents in Kenya. We have a lot of requests from German companies, but also from German like counties or village administrations that are looking desperately for bus drivers, for people that are helping in the city administration, for people that are helping in the public pools, for example, as lifeguards. And it's overwhelming for us, partly at the embassy, to deal with all these requests. So we are very happy to have the Chamber of Commerce. What we also will try to set up is partnerships between local Chamber of Commerces in Germany and their institutional counterparts here in Kenya. In the delegation of Vice Chancellor Habeck, for example, we had a participant who is heading the Chamber of Commerce for Berlin. And there are a lot of companies from the private sector in Berlin that are looking for TVET students also, plumbers, electricians, whatsoever. And we want to match this high demand with the supply of young Kenyans that we have here. And our big plan, if I may say so, is to set up a migration information center in Nairobi that should be a joint effort by the public side, Germany, the government, the embassy, but also financed and resourced by the private sector. We have these centers, we have one in Ghana, and it's a very successful model, and we talked already to a number of companies that are interested to chip in and be part of this project. So that's our roadmap for 25. And it all should help to answer your questions and also to help you when you are really interested going to Germany for work. I would like to conclude with 3 aspects that are particularly important for us as the embassy, but also as the German federal government. And I talked about this in the context of the agencies that are now mushrooming everywhere, and we are reading also in the newspapers about scandals and scams where they try to basically get your money but don't deliver any service. So labor migration has to be conducted in an ethical way according to international standards. IOM, the International Organization for Migration, with which we closely cooperate, and they were partly also part of the negotiations when we met here in Nairobi. IOM has developed a migrant worker guidelines for employers, which are very important. And also the International Labour Organization, which is a UN organization, has developed a framework on labor migration. And these are international principles for a rights-based approach to labor migration. And I can only encourage you to check these principles, because these are your rights, basically. This is the foundation on which you can start this journey. I would also like to stress, in the context of ethical migration, that in Germany we have a very strict social and labor market policy. We have regulations on the minimum wage and maximum working hours. We have strong regulations on the safety of workers, of health insurance, and we have very, very strong trade unions and staff representations in almost all of our companies. So I can assure you, when you go to Germany, I can't give you a 100% guarantee, but I can assure you that at least the principles and the framework in Germany with regard to the protection of employees and laborers and staff are amongst the highest levels, I would say, even worldwide. So this principle of ethical migration and ethical labor, non-exploitation, are very, very important to us. The second point that is very important from a political point of view is that we will not promote migration of experts that are needed here in Kenya. Which sense would it make to do development programs with a partner country and at the same time trying to get scarce resources from here? So we don't do this. But what we have done is a study about the qualification profile of Kenyans in general, and where there is a sort of oversupply of qualifications and where we can benefit from the German side without harming the development prospects of your country. And also WHO, the World Health Organization, is also scrutinizing the health sectors of a number of countries and giving red lights for some countries where health workers are very, very scarce. And we would never, as a German government, tap into a scarce resource if WHO would tell us don't do this. But in Kenya is not on this list. You have a very good system how to educate and bring up skilled health workers, and if I may say so, there are enough of them. And some of them, if some of them go to Germany, this won't harm the health system here in Kenya. So instead of also talking about a brain drain for Kenya, I think we should rather think in terms of a brain gain, because the Kenyan people that are going to Germany will develop new skills, will develop language skills, cultural skills, social skills, and also probably one day come back to Kenya and enrich the Kenyan ecosystem and the Kenyan economy. And this concept of circular migration, I think, is something that we should also bear in mind when we talk about the Kenyan-German labor migration and mobility partnership. And in this context also, it's very important, I said it in the beginning, that vocational training and TVET is one of our main pillars of development cooperation. So what we do is also trying to invest in the qualification and in the human capital of the younger generations here in Kenya. And we do this for years now. We started with 7 centers of excellence for TVET in and around Nairobi, and in the next phase, together with the Ministry for Education and the PS TVET, Elizabeth, we are now looking into 70 TVET institutions all over the country that will be supported by GIZ and KfW, and will be partnering also with German TVET institutions in order to give you an idea about how TVET works in Germany and how we can make it work better here in Kenya. And it's an absolute priority also for President Ruto, who wants to bring this system and approach forward here in Kenya, and we are also fully behind it. And we do this also to invest in the qualification of young Kenyans. My third point is that we have to be aware to regulate the sector and don't tolerate any sort of criminal elements in this whole system. So my proposal to you is, do not pay any money for the recruitment itself. Don't pay any money to agencies that make you any promises without any foundations. It is international standard that the recruitment fee has to be paid by the employer, by the company or the city or the county that is looking for people. It's not up to you to pay a fee for this. Do not pay any money for a service that you have not yet received. Don't sign any fake contracts. And we have seen this already also from the embassy side. And I think this is something that we should also look into in the next year, together with Ministry of Labor, Ministry of Diaspora, how we can really reduce the risk of any criminal acts, any scams in this sector. So, as I said, it is a good choice to go to Germany. Sometimes it can be also a hard choice. Because it's a different culture, it's a different environment, it's a different society, it's a different climate also. So you should also be prepared for some challenges. And especially the beginning might be not as easy as you might have thought. But I talked to a lot of Kenyans that worked for quite a while in Germany, and I never had any negative feedback. And we have one program for mid-career Kenyans in the mid and higher management levels that have the opportunity to work for 6 months in big German companies in Stuttgart or Frankfurt. And I once met a group of them here in Nairobi, and all of them told me they would have wished to stay longer because they liked it very much. So just to give you also this feedback, the beginning might not be easy, but it pays off at the end. I never heard a very, very negative feedback. To the contrary, everything I heard so far was very, very positive. But you have to be ready to adapt. You have to be ready also to learn German, and you should start learning German here. With regard to your qualification, both is possible, as I said. Either you have a local qualification that is recognized in Germany, and you have some work experience in your field that gives you an advantage in the so-called opportunity card when you apply for a visa, but you can also apply for a visa where you stay 1 year in Germany and look for a job in Germany. So this so-called opportunity card, in German we say Chancenkarte, is the new legal basis which is the legal foundation for the labor migration agreement that we signed. And it is the so-called German Residence Act that enables controlled access to find qualified employment in Germany. When you do this, you go for 1 year to Germany, but you have to prove also that you have enough money to sustain yourself in this process of looking for a job. We have a number of online resources where you can go deeper into all these details. One is called makeitingermany.com. So if you Google it, you will find it easily, makeitingermany.com, but you can also check it on our online site from the embassy. So I hope that I at least answered some of your questions. As I said, this is not the end of a process, it's the beginning of the process. I see the next year as the real first year where we will see the fruits of the work of this year, where we will see the numbers increasing. My wish is that we increase the number organically and not explosively. If we go from 1,000 to 50,000 in 1 year, our capacities won't manage, neither on the Kenyan side nor on the German side. So I think our aim should be to increase 20, 30, probably 40% every year. And then if we look back in 3, 4, 5 years, we will see a significant change in numbers, and we will welcome a significant number of Kenyans in Germany, and my feeling is that we are on a very good way in this regard. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for that very elaborate presentation that you have made. I think Balozi deserves a better and more hearty clap. Tafadhali, makofi kwa Balozi. Before you sit, Balozi, I just have 2 short questions for you. A lot of these young men and women seated here have heard your speech. From here, what should they be, those who've been inspired about going to Germany, what should they go start doing immediately?
So my 2 main recommendations is, first, check out the online resources that I mentioned. Make it in Germany. Just Google it, you will find it, and there you will see all the formal recommendations or conditions that have to be fulfilled in order to start the process. And the second thing is kujifunza Kijerumani tafadhali. This is very important because you can't be a nurse in Germany or a caretaker for elderly people without speaking German. And I know that Kenyans are so gifted in learning languages. When we go to the coast, we see people that never saw a German teacher, but they speak fluently German. So just with their in their contacts with German tourists. But as I said, there are online resources via Deutsche Welle that you can at least start, get a basic knowledge, and then try to go to Goethe Institute or other institutions and try to learn properly German. It is, I think, for Kiswahili-speaking people, not such a super difficult language because the system is somehow comparable and the pronunciation also is not so difficult for you. So I just can invite you to learn German. Check out the online site, make it in Germany, and then you have a good basis to enter the process.
My second question is, there are various levels of languages for Germany. Maybe you can just quickly run us through what professions require a higher level? I don't need to speak German to be a good plumber, for example. Do I need? I just fix my pipes quietly. Just maybe quickly explain, and where are the training courses available? And is training online, is that adequate? Does it have to be verified? Maybe you can just give a quick explanation on that, please.
So we have a system in Germany that reflects your competence, your linguistic competence, A1, A2, B1, B2, and you should have a level of A2 or B1, which means studying about 1.5 years, constantly being able to do a good conversation, to answer easy questions. This is A2. B1 is then still a bit higher. The necessity for your language skills is very much depending on the job, as you said. For example, we have people in the logistics sector that drive out parcels for Amazon, like here Jumia. They come also from abroad and they don't necessarily speak German because they have everything online. They have a scanner. The scanner speaks Bulgarian or Ukrainian or Czech, and he could also speak Swahili. So this is not the problem. But as I said, if you're a nurse, if you're in the service sector that deals with people, if you are a bus driver and the German comes and says, can you tell me the way to the train station? You have to have some basic skills to give this explanation. So it's very much depending on the job. We have also more and more jobs where the business environment is English. So for example, I met a Kenyan, a very young Kenyan lady. I met her mother, but she told me about her daughter that is now working as a programmer, doing coding for a German bank in the back office in a very international team. She showed me a photo. There were Italians, there were people from Syria, there were people from Kenya, people from the UK, and they formed an international team, and of course they speak English amongst themselves in this team. But that was a very high-skilled profession, doing coding, professional coding. So it very much depends on the environment. I would say the closer you are to the people, the closer you are to the service industry with people, the higher is the necessity, of course, to speak German. And then, if you see the cultural aspect also, if you want to immerse also in the German society and culture, of course, it's also better to speak German. Most of Germans also speak English, so you will always survive somehow. You will always find somebody who speaks English. But to really get a feeling of the people and the culture, it's good to learn German, and it's even better to start this afternoon.
Thank you so much, Balozi number one. Thank you so much for all your... Thank you. We're about to begin our other session. So once again, Your Excellency, thank you for that very knowledgeable information that you've given us that should help in empowering our youth. And even those of you who are not going to Germany, please pass that information to a friend, to a relative who may be interested in pursuing a career in Germany. Asante sana. Irene, is she around?
Thank you. Let's put our hand together for Balozi, to our ambassador, to our PS for those beautiful remarks. We can do better than that. Tuwapigeni makofi. Unajua kuna mtu ataenda Germany hapa ndugu zangu. Thank you so much. We appreciate. We want to get to the next part of the program, and PS, with your permission, we just want to have a conversation about the same. And I'm going to call our moderator for the day, Elizabeth. Nikimuita tunampigia makofi tafadhali. Tumkaribishe our moderator, Elizabeth Maganga. And I'd like to call on stage Emma Gichecha, Diaspora Affairs, Ruth Kitonyi, Diaspora Affairs, Caro Murogo, PRA, John Muiruri, PRA, alafu tuko na Mr. Mutuse, National Employment Authority. Tuwapigeni makofi hawa wangwana watuletea haya mazungumzo. Karibuni sana.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. My name is Elizabeth Mganga. I am a Foreign Service Officer with the State Department for Diaspora Affairs. I am happy to see all of you here. Before us, we have, I would like to say, experts in their field. So just to kick off this session real quick, because I think we might be constrained on time, I would like to pass along the microphone for our panelists today to introduce themselves.
Thank you, moderator. Good morning. My name is Ruth Kitonyi. I work for the State Department for Diaspora Affairs.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Njoki Morogo. The Director, Consult Center Limited, a PRA. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is John Miruri. I'm a director at Key Resource Services Limited. We are a recruitment agency. Thank you.
Good morning, all. My name is Emma Gisheha. I am a director at the State Department for Diaspora and Diaspora Affairs. I handle the Welfare and Rights Division. Thank you.
Thank you for the elaborate introductions. I would like to go directly into our conversations for the day, where our theme for the whole week from 5th of this month, we have just been having conversations around labor mobility and migration. So I would like to direct the first question to Ruth. Kindly speak something on how the State Department for Diaspora Affairs takes on the approach towards labor mobility. Also, you could kindly touch on our co-shared mandate with the State Department for Labor and Skills Development.
Thank you so much, moderator. The State Department for Diaspora Affairs was formed through an executive order in 2023 and given a 6-point mandate. Then the mandate was expanded again in 2023, and we were handed 3 more mandates. Among the 100 mandates is that we have 2 shared mandates with the Ministry for Labor, and one of the mandates that we share is to secure placement of Kenyans abroad, where we work closely to ensure that we have job opportunities for Kenyans who are willing to migrate. The second shared mandate is on the implementation of labor migration policy, as well as the implementation of the global labor market strategy, which is also key because we realized that we needed to increase the number of Kenyans abroad. We also needed to ensure that we have the legal, the regulatory framework for labor mobility.
Thank you for that response. Again, before I move on from you, I would like to understand something. So, you know, Kenyans have been migrating time immemorial, And most of these times, the push has been from an individual perspective. So because we know government is elaborate towards creating employment for Kenyans, what are some of the frameworks that government has initiated to assist in this? You could speak about the MOUs or the BLAs or strategic partnerships that we have initiated to empower Kenyans to be able to confidently step into these fields to seek for employment, backed by their government, of course.
Thank you so much, moderator. Once more, yes, the government has deliberately been decided to be involved in labor mobility because we realize that whether we are involved or not, labor migration continues. And within the labor mobility, then we would have a lot of issues because if government does not regulate, if the government does not provide the policy direction, then we have had a lot of issues. If you notice recently, even the cases, the distress cases that are being handled have really gone down because of the government involvement, where the government has negotiated several MOUs with various countries. BLAs have been signed, others are still in the process. We've also entered into strategic partnerships in countries, for example, where we do not even have the BLAs or the MOUs to ensure that the Kenyan worker rights, issues of safety, issues of welfare are well taken care of. The government intends to continue negotiating for more MOUs, more BLAs, and more strategic partnerships will continue being negotiated and agreed upon.
Thank you again for that response. I would also like to highlight to our attendants that as you've heard Ambassador Growth speak, that is one of the examples of Kenya being intentional about creating employment for the youth in a regulated and safe manner. I would like to direct the next question to both Mr. John and Ms. Carol on kindly, briefly speak about now, the government has done its part. We've negotiated for these jobs. As a PRA, how do you get access to these jobs? And briefly explain the process and the importance of carrying out attestation of these jobs.
Thank you, moderator, and thank you for being here, everyone. So one of our mandates as PRAs is to source for these jobs. And once you get the job, I mean, you would first have to go out there and look for the job, either through your networks or physically being in that particular country to look for these jobs. And once you get the jobs, you'll bring back the job order to our country. You will advertise the job on the NEA portal, which is a requirement after you have had the job order authenticated through the State Department for Diaspora Affairs, who will ask their counterparts on the employing countries to authenticate the jobs. So the embassy on the other side will confirm that yes, the jobs are there. And so now you'll bring the job order that is authenticated. They will have put a stamp on it, and you will upload the same on the NEA portal, and every job seeker will see the job that is there. And then again, you are going to go ahead and source for the workers, the migrant workers. Usually they will look for us, or you will make it your business to look for them through the databases that we have, or the best way you know how, but there's a lot of active marketing and sourcing. Thank you.
Well, good morning. To add on to that, I would say that it's also very important for us as recruitment agencies to make sure that the process is transparent as much as possible, and that both the employer and the candidates know what is going on in terms of transparency. So once you get that job order, as Carol has explained, you have to make the candidate know about the position that they will be holding. You have to make them know about the working hours, all the other benefits that the employer is offering in terms of housing, in terms of transport, in terms of working hours, so that once they leave here, they know what they expect on the other side. And to avoid exploitation by the employers, we also do due diligence in terms of visiting the clients or the employers, and also see where these people will be working, where will be their accommodation facilities, so that we also know that we are sending our Kenyans to an employer who will take care of them.
Thank you. Again, to Ms. Carol and Mr. John, there's a question that normally comes up anytime we come into contact with job seekers. We know you are in the business, so you're able to answer this question accurately. We get the question about costs that are related to recruitment. What determines this costing? Do you have a standard range for these costs that maybe a Kenyan might need to pay as they're in the process of trying to acquire this job? Are these payments normally documented? What happens if the process is not successful? Are they able to get a refund? These are some of the questions that we encounter on a day-to-day basis, and I think you're the best to elaborate on that on this platform.
Thank you. The costs are usually, the costs would be not exaggerated in terms of, we have admin costs, we have offices to run, we have licenses to take care of, we have, in some cases, the candidates have to take a medical test, though that's now, medical is a direct cost to the facility. Then there are qualifying tests, like in my case, as I'm processing teachers to the US, my clients ask them to take the TOEFL test, so they would have to pay for that test themselves. And then, of course, they need to take care of the travel documents. So then, in some cases, we will ask for a fee to be paid. And yes, there is a refund policy in my company, and I bet in many companies, whereby if you are not successful in one case or the other, we shall refund the agency fee. However, I will say this today, that you will not ask me to refund money that you paid for your medical, because you paid to the facility. If you fail that qualifying test, for example, the TOEFL or Praxis, you will again not ask me or expect me to refund that money, because you already paid for that particular service. But on the agency fee, whatever it is, and you did not qualify, or you are not selected perhaps, then that is bound to be refunded to you.
It's also very important to note that as PRAs and government, we are trying to move into no fees policy. We are trying to get employers who will pay the recruitment fees. But before that, right now we have some employers who will tell you not to charge any fee to the candidates. So we'll try as the PRAs, and we are working with government to see that we only engage employers who are willing to pay the recruitment fees to recruit Kenyans. But apart from that, of course, like Carol has said, we have the direct cost. We have the passport that you have to apply for yourselves. We have the police clearance certificate. Then we have the attestation at the Foreign Affairs Ministry. We also have the embassy fees now, the visa fees and all, and the biometrics in terms of, in cases of those people who are going to the Middle East. We have injars for those who are going to Saudi. So those are direct costs that are associated with, to the candidate. But for the fees, yes, I understand right now, us as agencies, we're asking for money. The policy is you should ask for a maximum of 1 month's salary from the candidates if the employer is not paying. And like Carol has said, the policy is that if for any reason that is our fault or the employer's fault that you don't go through, then you should get a refund of the full amount.
Thank you. I think our attendants who are here are now well informed on that, since it is a question that frequently comes up. I am also informed that there are students who are expecting to receive their travel documents today. You are requested to visit the tent on your left, on that side. I'm informed that they are ready. So on to the next question. I want to go directly to Madam Emma. So now, we've looked for the jobs. This person has connected with the recruitment agent. Now, they're preparing to leave. Briefly speak about the documentation that a Kenyan ideally should have, more so especially on matters of visas, because based on I want to be biased because she is my boss. So based on the cases that we handle on a daily, we know one of the challenges that we deal with is the class of visa. So kindly briefly speak on that, and I wish to throw also another question. As people are gearing towards moving out of the country for one reason or another, what are the signs to look out for so as they are careful not to be victims of trafficking in persons?
Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for those two questions. They are very pertinent to when we are speaking about the welfare of our people when they go outside there to work. And I will start with the first question, like which documents should you have before you depart to work outside the country? Definitely you will require to have your passport with you. And when it comes to going for work, I do not expect you to leave the country with a tourist visa, because that tells me that something is off about the job that you're going to do or that you have been promised. And we have seen, from the desk that I sit on the welfare, I have experienced a lot of Kenyans who have been lied to, that they will be taken to a particular country for a particular job, but they will use the tourist visa, and then when they arrive there, that is when they are going to get the work visa or the work permit. Kindly do not leave the country with a tourist visa if you're not going there as a tourist. More often than not, you will fall into the hands of traffickers. When I talk about traffickers, they will take care of everything for you. They will pay for you the visa, they will pay for you the ticket, they will facilitate you fully. But what awaits you on the other end is what you do not know. You are not going to get a work permit because there is nothing on the ground like a job, a legitimate job. What will happen is that you will fall into the hands of the traffickers, and they will get you into illegal jobs within that country. So my fellow Kenyans, do not depart the country to work using a tourist visa. Number two, the person who is telling you to travel with a tourist visa, I have a question about their legitimacy when it comes to their registration as an agency. Whenever somebody promises you a job, the first question that you should ask is, are you a registered agency with our National Employment Authority? Ask for the name of the agency, because they might decide to lie to you that yes, they are registered. Ask them for the name of their agency. And if possible, not if possible, visit their office. See a physical office. Every registered PRA has got a physical office. The DG NEA is here, she can confirm that. So if somebody does not have an office, you should question the job they are promising you. And there is no registered agency that is going to take you abroad with a tourist visa because they know it is not allowed. So kindly Kenyans, let us make use of Google. Kindly visit the NEA website, Google the agency. If it does not appear on the website, kindly know that it is not registered and do not engage them beyond that. You will be safe. Visitors' visas also, I would not recommend you to depart if you do not have a work visa. A work visa is what you need. Number two, you need to have a contract. Because before you leave, you need to understand what kind of job am I going to do? What are the conditions and the terms of this employment? Many of our Kenyans have been lied to that you're going to sign the contract upon arrival. Upon arrival, whoever will pick you will not give you a contract. They will take you around in circles and you will never see the contract. If a problem comes, if you enter into any kind of distress, you will find yourself being on your own because there is no contract that is covering you. The essence of having a contract is that you will be covered. When it comes to medical, when you fall sick, who should take care of your medical expenses? When it comes to accommodation, who is going to take care of your accommodation? When it comes to repatriation, in case there is need for you to be repatriated, who should take care of that? So please ensure that you have signed a contract with whoever is taking you abroad for work. And I think, Elizabeth, those are the few issues that I need to mention that people should look out to. Only use registered agencies, leave the country with the correct visa for you, and also ensure that you have a valid contract that has also been attested by the Ministry of Labor. Thank you.
Asanteni sana wa viongozi wetu kwa uelekezi wenu mzuri. Kwa hakika tunaendelea kuelimika. Nina tangazo ambalo kidogo tutaomba tuweze kulizingatia kwa sababu mgeni wa heshima, Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais, anajumuika nasi wakati wowote kuanzia sasa hivi tukiendelea na panel hii. Wale wote ambao wamesimama kule nje, tafadhali tunaomba tuweze kuingia mahali tunafaa kwa haraka kidogo tukisaidiwa na maafisa wetu wa polisi. Wale wenzetu ambao tuko hapa kwa sababu ya shughuli ya leo na tuko pale nje, tafadhali kwa haraka kidogo kila mmoja anaombwa kuchukua nafasi yake ili we clear that path kwa sababu ya convoy ambayo inaingia dakika yoyote kuanzia sasa hivi. Kila mmoja tuingie, tutulie, tafadhali simu zetu tuweke vibration mode ama silent mode, na wale officers wote ambao wako miongoni mwa wale 300 kwa heshima tafadhali tunaombwa tuwe sote tumeketi mkono wangu wa kulia ambao ni wako wa kushoto kwa sababu unaniangalia. Asante, tuendelee kumakinika kutoka kwa viongozi wetu ambao wanaendelea kutufahamisha yale ambayo tunahitajika kuyafanya. Shukran. Aya, kwa some adjustment. Wale vijana wote ambao wako miongoni mwa wale 300, iwapo umeketi miongoni mwa hawa, labda haukupata mwelekezi wa kukuonyesha mahali pa kuketi, tafadhali for the sake of that activity that we will be having after the main event, tunaombwa sana sote tuketi upande huu, na ikiwa wewe si miongoni mwa wale 300, kwa heshima tafadhali tutafute viti upande huu kwa sababu there is an activity that the team will be doing which we will need them all to be seated in one position. Thank you so much. Kindly, madam, you may proceed with a lot of respect.
Asante. I want to direct another question to Madam Ruth. Kindly, tell us a little bit about the global labor market strategy.
Developed by the 2 State Department, as I talked about our 2 shared mandate, the State Department for Labor and Skills Development, and the State Department for Diaspora Affairs. As you are well aware that the government role is regulate, policy, legal frameworks, and protection. Why do we need the global labor market strategy? So one of the reasons why we need the GLMS, as we call it, is to ensure that we increase the number of Kenyans joining the international market. We want to increase the numbers from the current, the CS for labor mentioned, 218,000 to around 1 million by 2027. There's also need for government regulation and policy framework. If we leave the market unregulated, if there is no policy direction, then as I said before, we'll have a lot of consular cases, a lot of issues, a lot of people traveling without the right documentation, a lot of people traveling without the right visas for work. So that's why we need the global labor market strategy, and also to note that labor migration or labor mobility is majorly by the PRAs, private recruitment agencies, and individuals. So the government role here is policy, legal, and administrative, to offer policy, legal, and administrative instruments. For us as a government, the long-term solution is through policy, legal, and institutional reforms. So that's why we look at it in terms of long-term, short-term, and even in the mid-term. Another role of the GLMS is to facilitate Kenyans abroad. We need to facilitate our Kenyans abroad through a regulated way. We also there's also a need for their protection to ensure that their welfare, the issues of their rights, the issues of their contracts are well taken care of. And within the GLMS, we are also trying to brand the Kenyan talent, the Kenyan labor, and we are asking ourselves, who are we as a country? What do we have to offer as a country? How competitive can we be if we compare ourselves with the other countries? And we realize that we really have an upper hand. We are multilingual, we are professional, we have the best work ethics, we are resilient, we are entrepreneurial, and GLMS is also going to assist us implement all this, Madam Moderator. Thank you.
Since you've said something very key that speaks to our personality as Kenyans, you've said that we are professionals and we carry high standards of ethics. Can maybe our PRAs tell us how they do the business of skills matching, and also kindly briefly speak on pre-departure trainings for potential migrants?
Thank you, Elizabeth. So for the skills matching, or ensuring that the job has gotten the right candidate, we will evaluate and verify the documents that you bring to us, so that indeed, if I'm saying I'm a teacher, and I'm a teacher who went to, for the sake of this conversation, let's say KU. We shall go to KU through an evaluating body that we have been guided to use. We shall talk to KU, asking them to verify that the transcripts I have presented are in their record. So if KU disowns me, then unfortunately there's a situation right there. So we try to verify as much as we can. We try to do the right job with the right documentation. Let my colleague talk about pre-departure.
Yeah, I'll talk about pre-departure. Address this theme that
small space. Yeah. Small space. Security network. That's enough. That's enough. It's a very tight space.
And we can even welcome one of the workers in our country to have your blood pressure taken.
Yeah, nurse very well. She's in charge of the trial system. Yes.
Nurse precision. This one, I don't know whether it will go very far.
Yes.
I don't know. What do we do? You need. Have you opened this button? You need to open
second button.
the second one. Oh, okay.
I learned because I did the same the other day.
Is that so?
I had the same predicament. I have historical knowledge.
So, Your Excellency, one of the things we check even as we do this is both the physical and mental health issues that can affect workers. So as a nurse is doing this, they talk to you and ask, kazi iko vipi, kuna pressure, nini, what can you do? So that we ensure workers are productive.
If I see in terms of mental health, this deputy president is okay. Maybe we are talking about other You never know. It's good to check.
Yeah, it's good to check. Yeah, so we have to do it periodically.
But now, your pressure will be elevated because of the excitement, unfortunately. The laughing and everything. So whatever you get now will be a bit higher than normal.
Okay, I request you to tell it for a while.
Okay. To the main side. See, you say. Wow. You're so healthy, right? Look at the range. Unajuaje? 114/72. Waziri, najua ni daktari. Sio wa hii. Sio wa sindano. Simwambie, look at that range. What is the limit?
It's 114/72.
It's okay.
Very nice.
Happy to hear that. And mine is even higher than that. Is that so? Yeah. Very good. Whatever you're doing, you laugh more than I do. We are going to check it, son. Yes, thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
So just show you one other thing on this other side.
Okay, all right.
So usually workers are exposed to lots of noise and dust that can affect their lungs. So we have equipment here that we can also check their lungs. So they blow into something and we record, and we're able to know if their lung is healthy.
Next room.
Similarly for the ears, we also do the same. The equipment is over here, but this is for demonstration.
Chamber for.
Yes. So this is state-of-the-art equipment that we have.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Now this one is where we assess workers, especially those ones who work in dusty environments, whether their lungs are functioning well. It's called spirometry. So it just shows how much your lungs are functioning at any particular moment. You can have a seat. Okay. Yes. So the idea is you just have to blow as much out with your lungs as possible so that you see how they're functioning.
So he takes a deep breath, holds, and then blows.
Yeah, so you hold for 3 seconds, then you blow. Okay. Just put it in your mouth, then you blow.
Completely inside the mouth.
Okay. Yes. Yes, thank you.
That's enough?
That's enough. Okay. So it's able to display the curve of how much you're able to blow, and it gives us all those white tones.
What is he saying?
Like this one is saying you are able to blow more than 80% of your lung function, which is good. Yes. Simba. Sawa.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Excellency, because of time.
So when your lung
No, this, for example, on a positive note, the genes are runners. And there is nothing you can do about that. Then they say, if you want.
So this is Jamhuri coffee. They are brewing coffee, and most of the coffee are sourced all over the country. So you find their coffees are named after each region where they are coming from.
Where do I buy it? Where do I buy it from? From
the Lavington.
From Lavington Mall. From Lavington Mall. Will I? No, you will. Thank you very much. The job you're doing.
These are dental floss. They are
helping.
Yeah. Because we always say that they are made locally. Yeah, and they are very quality.
You're most welcome. Thank you. My name is Kithure. I'm here representing our school. We'd like to show you just a few moments of yours. We show you what we are doing for missions. Thank you. Mickey. Everything that we are doing for us.
Stepped on the wire.
So I will take you through the internship program. I'll take you through the program. Finally, I'll take you through as far as the CPC is concerned. So within the teacher internship program, this is the best program that has happened. It is within the bottom up, it's not in the government. And in the last 3 years, from 2020 to 2023, we were able to recruit 26,000 interns. 2023-2024, we recruited 20,000. 2024-2025, we recruited 20,000. This is just our Jamhuri this year. Next year, in total, we are 66%. The government has been able to spend.
Can send something for teaching.
Yes, we shall.
Yes, please send it to his office, and when he has time, so you can be able to do the next week. If you get done. All right.
The trainers or the seafarers, like us. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's appreciate the panelists. Thank you so much for that beautiful conversation.
Also talk about the
industrial approaches.
And then now we know what is in the they like in trend and they're able to deploy
How many trade this is?
Actually, right now there is a government going on where we are assessing for 2,000. Yeah, so probably we are assessing so far the area of trade and housing.
I don't know na Kiswahili unasema aje. Weka mkono nikuje. I don't know na Kiswahili unaisema aje. Huyo hafahamu. Ladies and gentlemen, I kindly request you be upstanding so that we can welcome His Excellency the Deputy President. Tumkaribisheni tafadhali kwa makofi makamu wetu wa rais anapojiunga na sisi hapa. We can do better than that. Let's put our program for His Excellency the Deputy President, Dr. Kithure Kindiki. Karibu sana.
Basi tunapoendelea kusimama hivyo, nitaomba wimbo wa taifa pamoja na wimbo wa Jumuiya ya Afrika kutoka studio. As we remain standing, I will invite Alice Nyabuti to come and lead us in a word of prayer. Alice Nyabuti, kindly.
Let us all believe and pray. Father in heaven, we come before you this morning. We thank you, we glorify you, for you are worthy of praise. We thank you for our country, and we thank you, Lord, even for this opportunity that you have given us today to gather as a country and deliberate and share the achievements that we have made. We place before you all the leaders that are here today, my Father, that you may bless each one of them and give them wisdom to lead in their various perspectives in the ways you want, my Father. We thank you, we glorify you for all the youth who are in this country, who are being planned for, my Father, because this occasion is all about them. We ask you, Lord, even as they depart to various countries to work and be able to fetch for their families, that you may give them the wisdom and the knowledge that they require to work with diligence and with respect. Bless all those countries who have given us opportunities to take our youth to those countries. We pray for the leadership of our country, even for the vision that they have, my Father, to be able to see that we need to collaborate with other countries to provide such opportunities for our youth. Bless each one of us, and may your will be done, for it is in Jesus' name that I pray and believe.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Tafadhali naomba kwa heshima tuweze kuchukua viti vyetu. Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, Profesa Kithure Kindiki, Cabinet Secretary Dr. Alfred Mutua, the Permanent Secretary present, wananchi, mabibi na mabwana, ambassadors present. Naomba sasa niweze kumwalika Mr. Itumbi ili aje aweze kuendelea na ratiba iliyoko mbele yetu.
Excellency the Deputy President, Honorable CS, Honorable PSs present, Honorable Excellency Ambassadors present, colleagues in the service of the nation, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today is a culmination of a 1 week long celebration of Jamhuri Day. Excellency Deputy President, today is a culmination of your vision that you had at the Ministry of Interior in 2022 when we started the first thematic week, which then was digital. This is the 7th edition of that vision, and it's good to have you as a guest of honor to close it down, because this was exactly what you saw in 2022, for us to do a theme that exposes the week of Jamhuri, Madaraka, and Mashujaa Day before the actual day. So this is that vision in action. Allow me to celebrate the Kenya Kenya Medical Training College, KMTC, who have been with us throughout as part of the beneficiaries, and the TVET team that has been with us from Thursday last week to now. I also wish to recognize my co-chairs, Ambassador Kabira, and from the Ministry of Labor, because this has been organized jointly by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Labor. Excellency Deputy President, because I know we are short of time, I will only mention 2 key lessons we have learned through this week. One is that there are jobs. And anyone who says that hakuna kazi kwa ground, kazi mtandaoni, na kazi majuu, this week has proven to them that they are not right. There are jobs. And the recruiters have been with us. I think they have more jobs than found out is that there are some charges that are done to people who are traveling. For a long time, we didn't know, the government didn't know what, there's been a complaint to government about that fee. However, government, we learned during the presidential town hall that the youth fund has now come up with a package that has a limit of 300,000 and is able to pay your initial cost as you travel. That's a key lesson, and it's one uptick that has not been done very well. But number 2, as a key lesson, is that for a lot of people who have come during this exhibition, they are, beyond the jobs, there are also people who are recruiting people on TikTok and on Facebook. So the problem of misinformation and fake news is also integrated into our social media. Therefore, one of the key lessons you have learned is that there is a diaspora placement agency that is able to verify the jobs that are being offered abroad. So it is to appeal to our young people not to rely on people who just go on TikTok and pretend to have jobs, because some become victims of trafficking in some of those countries. As late as this week, we had a team that had already been recruited to go to one of the countries and was supposed to travel on Tuesday. We had to put blocks at immigration for them not to travel because they got the jobs via TikTok. So, Excellency, those are the 2 key lessons that we learned, and we have been able to communicate. Thank you very much for coming. I would ask everyone who was in the planning committee just to stand and wave, and so that we can appreciate you. Thank you very much. You can have your seat. Having said that, it's now my pleasure to invite the PS Diaspora to come and take over the rest of the program.
Thank you, Your Excellency. And if you will allow, Your Excellency, I will stand on already established protocols, recognizing colleagues, excellencies, ambassadors, and so on. Your Excellency, mine is to do 2 things. One is to recognize my dear sister, PS TVET, PS Moria, who is a critical actor and who owns a lot of the young people here in the sense that they are TVET graduates or TVET students. The second thing, Excellency, this morning we heard from the German ambassador about kazi majuu, particularly work in Germany. And young people, I hope by now you have gone online and looked at the free German language classes on Deutsche Welle, or looked at makeitingermany.com, as Balozi said. Excellency, I'm here also to present the apologies of our minister, the Prime Cabinet Secretary and Minister for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, who could not make it today because, of course, of his many responsibilities, who would have wished to be here because kazi majuu is really important to him. Excellency, with that, allow me to invite Kama mimi ni PS Maju, kuna PS wa labor who owns all the work. Maju, kwa mtandao na kwa ground, PS Modime.
Thank you very much, PS Diaspora. Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Cabinet Secretary Labor, PSs who are here present, Ambassador Qatar in Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Hamjambo, Mukopoa. Your Excellency, let me start by appreciating the presence of the representative of the International Labour Organization, Mr. Wycliffe Ouma. Your Excellency, we work with the International Labour Organization very, very closely, first to ensure standards of labor are maintained within the country, but also they have been of great assistance to us in developing a model bilateral labor agreement that we use whenever we are negotiating with countries abroad to ensure that our young people are able to secure employment in the international labor market. They have also been of great assistance to us in developing a strategy. This is the National Strategy on Skills Development for Labor Mobility. We intend to ensure that our young people are as employable as it can be. We want to ensure that they're employable within our economy in terms of the job opportunities that are available, but sometimes they don't have the skills that are required, and therefore this strategy will be of assistance to us in guiding our young people so that they can undertake courses that will guarantee them employment, both within our economy and also in the international labor market. We are also working together with the Labor Market Information Unit, which is a directorate within my State Department that scans the market to see the kind of skills that are required, again, both within the economy and also in the international labor market. Your Excellency, we have also been very emphatic to our private recruitment agencies that whenever they get job orders abroad, they have to upload these job orders on our National Employment Authority Integrated Management System. This is critical because we don't want our young people to be conned in any way. We know that there are some private recruitment agencies that unfortunately have, conned our young people with the assumption that there are jobs that they have been able to secure, but the truth is some of these jobs are not there, and therefore we have been emphatic that these job orders must be uploaded on the portal so that then our young people can be able to access this portal and see the kind of jobs that are available. Indeed, we've gone ahead and appraised Kenyans that the private recruitment agencies that are in red on our website, they should avoid them as much as possible. Their status is wanting. But those that are in black ink, then they can be able to possibly get the jobs that they have advertised and eventually access the international labor market. With these few remarks, Your Excellency, I want to invite the Qatar ambassador to Kenya to come and give his remarks. He has played a very critical role in allowing us to access their labor market. There are many young people who have managed to get jobs in their country. Thank you.
Jambo, habari zenu. Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Cabinet Secretary of Labor, dear guests, good morning. It's my pleasure and opportunity to be here today, and I'm happy to attend this party. Your Excellency, As you know, there is good relationship between the state of Qatar and the Republic of Kenya. My goal now is to promote their relation. And I wish to do something good to this beautiful country. Excellency, at the moment, there is over 70,000 Kenyan working in Qatar. They do a good job, and they get all their rights. Most of them work at airport, Hamad Airport, in security company, hotels, and other places. Currently, I am working to recruit more Kenyans to work in Qatar. The Embassy of Qatar in Nairobi works closely and hand in hand with the Ministry of Labor in Kenya about this issue. Also, I am coordinating with the Ministry of Health in Doha to recruit nurses from Kenya. I wish good luck to Kenyan laborers who are going to work in Doha. Finally, please don't be afraid, because Qatar beautiful and a country of law, and nobody is oppressed. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. I also want to appreciate the presence of the Secretary General AFTA, who is here. I'm made to understand he's here with us. Mr. Wamkele, if you are here, you can stand. Mr. Wamkele, thank you, appreciate you. Unfortunately, owing to time constraints, we'll not be able to give you an opportunity to possibly say a word or two, but nevertheless, we sincerely appreciate your presence, the fact that you've been able to join us this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I now want to invite our Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Labor and Social Protection, the Honorable Alfred Mutua, then to come and give a speech and invite the Deputy President. Thank you.
Bwana asifiwe. Assalamu alaikum. Your Excellency, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, all the leaders that are here, His Excellency, the Ambassador of Qatar, the permanent principal secretaries, various officers, vijana walio hapa, ambao wengine weko tayari wamebeba mizigo ya kwenda safari hivi leo, na wasalimu. Your Excellency, you know my style, it's chap chap. So I only have 6 points in that formula. Point number 1, I want to thank you very much for agreeing to come to this function and to also to be able to flag off this group that is going to Qatar after a really public recruitment. I also want to thank His Excellency the President for his brilliant idea of labor mobility and the way he's been able to support and push this move, because it is essential for our economy. I want to thank also the organizers of this 1 week long, especially our young energetic man, Dennis Itumbi, for the work that you've been done and the coordination. We don't take it for granted. Your efficiency is well known. 2, when I was appointed to this ministry, a day after I was sworn in to be the Minister for Labor, I wrote a letter to Qatar, and it was transmitted by His Excellency, the Ambassador, to my counterpart, Dr. Ali bin Said bin Samik Al-Mari, the Minister for Labor for Qatar, and invited him to come to Kenya so we can discuss opening up Qatar for professional and skilled labor, so that it's not just cleaners or people, you know, who are going there. So we expanded. When he came, he offered us, when he met the President, a company that was ready to recruit 8,000 Kenyans to go to work in Qatar, including nurses and people of different categories. We had a very public recruitment here at KICC and also at Kabete National Polytechnic, organized very well by our PS for TVET. And we had a wonderful, wonderful recruitment. The Ambassador of Qatar, thank you very much. I'll say you've been very, very supportive. We were able in the first round to recruit slightly over 3,000. And so since then, we've been processing documents. What usually happens, Your Excellency, is that you have to undertake medical. And some people pass, others fail. They're very cautious about chest diseases, but also about people who've been taking drugs. Because you go, they test your blood, they test all these things, and if you've been smoking bangi every once a week or so, it shows. So they don't want people who smoke marijuana in their country. They don't want drug takers in their country. So some people have actually been eliminated because they were taking drugs, yet they were very good, skilled people. Nobody in the world wants drug takers, etc. And then, Your Excellency, also, we had to get their visas all aligned. So today, I'm very happy that now we have started the move. We have visas, we have passports ready, we have air tickets, and the first batch that will be traveling from today to this weekend will be nearly 300 young men and women going to Qatar. And some of them are here with their families. Maybe you can stand up, the first cohort going to Qatar. Simameni wale walio hapa, and you can see they're very well dressed. They are all here, and others wako kule nyuma. So, asante. And some of them, wale wako nyuma pale wanunua mkono, they have come with their suitcases and their families. And after this, we'll ask you to take a photo with them, because at 1 o'clock, I'm escorting them to the airport to make sure wameenda wakiandanga, so that people know that this is real. We do expect that for the other ones, today we've received, I think, nearly 100 new visas for others. So the visas will now be coming every other day. So this will be a continuous process, people signing job offers, working on it and moving. There are new job offers that have come that have changed. There are people who had been hired to work as cleaners, whose job has changed to work as packers, to pack. It's the same job. So we'll have to be resigning. Some of you will be resigning, the ones traveling tomorrow and over the weekend. And Your Excellency, we are sending a crew with this team so that we can actually show them in Qatar, working in Qatar. Ndio watu wanaosema ni stories za jaba, wameze wembe. Number 3. Dennis Itumbi talked about something very important, about the whole aspect of commissions. Now, there are 2 aspects of employment. You see, these are not our jobs. These jobs are overseas. It's a company that decides, I want to hire Kenyans. When they say they want to hire Kenyans, some companies say, I will pay for onboarding of the Kenyan. I will pay for their ticket, I will pay for their medical, I'll pay for their transport, I'll pay for all these processes. Their job is just to get into the plane and come here, and I'll take care of them. Those are few. Majority say you want employment. If you're in Kisumu and want to be employed in Nairobi, the person who wants to employ you does not send you a ticket to come here. Unajilete, sindio? So in the same way they are saying, you come here. Now, Your Excellency, the government cannot recruit people. That is done through agencies that are recruited according to the law. So the recruitment agencies are the ones who know where to rush for medicals, where to do attestation of documents and all that. So these agencies are the ones now you work with to ensure that your documents are in order and to be able to travel. So when the agencies say this is the breakdown, they need to give you a breakdown of how much it costs you for your ticket, everything, plus a small agency fee for them to remain in office. So I hope you understand is that, so you have to, nobody, and this is very important, nobody is forcing you to go. Nobody is forcing you to pay. You make the choice. I went to Australia. They say they want nurses. They'll be paying them 500,000 shillings a month. But before you can become a nurse in Australia, before you go, they need you to do attestation, they need you to do exams. When you look at all those things plus the ticket of nearly $1,500, it comes to nearly 300,000 shillings just to go to Australia. The companies, they are not paying, but they say the job is here, get everything done and you come. So it's good for you to understand that there are some that provide everything, others don't provide everything, and it's there. My job as a minister is to make sure that you're not conned. If you've paid it and you failed your medicals, then you get back the remaining money that you need to get. You don't get conned, and you go back and you do your life. Maybe you change your mind after a while. You know, you find a beautiful girl, you decide, roho yangu, nyota yangu ni hii, sitaki kumwacha hapa, ataenda. So you say, I'm not traveling. I want to get married. I've got another job in Kenya. It's okay. They cut the medical fee, they cut their fee that they use to process you, and they give you back the rest of the money. So nobody will be conned under my watch. Number 4, there are all types of jobs that are available, Your Excellency. The other day I went to see off a group of 42 that are going to the Bahamas. Chefs, waiters, very good salaries at the Bahamas. And so we've got all kinds of jobs that are available. We currently going on right now at the TVET here, Nairobi Technical, no, the other one here, near Pangani, Kamukunji. Right now, they are interviewing people who are riders. Mtu wa boda boda, unapata kazi, you become a rider in Dubai, dropping packages and everything, and you make 100,000 shillings a month. That is going on. There is going to be an activity in Kilifi for the same. This morning, I got an offer. Somebody said they have 7,000 jobs of technical work, plumbers, electricians, for Dubai. We'll be announcing that so that you give an opportunity to everybody. I will still go around the country, so you can go to every county, so people don't have to come to Nairobi to get jobs. We have some that will be in Nairobi because of ease and the speed, because the 7,000, they need them before the end of the year. We have to do them in a central place, but others will be going last. Your Excellency, as we hired these people, Qatar, in the list that they gave us, some of the people that were hired, 23 have been banned because they went to Qatar before and they broke the law. So whatever you do follows you. So those, they're actually drivers. We have now to tell them, sorry, you cannot travel. You're not wanted in Qatar. They just sent us the list. The ambassador here organized with the ministry, and we just recruited 200 police officers for Qatar. And they are just doing their security check. By the end of this month, they'll be going to Qatar to work as police officers, making good money in Qatar. 5, as I get to the end. There's this talk about brain gain versus brain drain. When people leave the country and go overseas, they're not going to stay there. They'll come back. They're actually gaining skills. When you go to Germany, for example, or you go to England and you're working as a technician, you are gaining skills that we don't have in our country, or even better way of doing things. So when you come here, you are actually bringing better ideas that we have not seen before. How to do things better. If you go to Qatar, Qatar has very high standards, very first world country. You find that hii madhogodhani unaeka gypsum vibaya, vitu unaeka vibaya, autataki. You'll come back with discipline of how to do your things. The polytechnics, the TVETs are usually adjusting their curriculum to fit the international standard that has been required by Qatar, Saudi, and other nations. So we are actually gaining when people go overseas. And we have very many people out here. We have over 5.4 million Kenyans who can work if they got an opportunity to work. We can't absorb all of them. When a few go overseas, it doesn't mean that we are losing anything in our country, because we have more professionals, people who are trained, than we actually can absorb in our economy. So they go, but the gap is not there. But they go and come back with new ideas. So wale naysayers, wanapiga mdomo, wanasema hii iwezekani, nitakwambia inawezekana. And this will happen. Wacha wale wanataka kwenda waende. Wewe funga mdomo, kaa hapo na hiyo pesa yako na kazi yako, because the ones complaining about people going overseas, yeye yuko kazini na hajui wewe uko nyumbani umesota. Wewe mwambiwe nyamaza, kaa nyumbani, wacha sisi tujitafutie haki yetu, tuende ngambo, tutarudi, tuendelee kujenga taifa. Na tujenga taifa tukiwa huko, tukituma pesa. And lastly, point number 6, Your Excellency, mbele iko sawa. It is now my pleasure, a gentleman and a leader that I really respect, a man who follows that Chinese adage that say, tread softly but carry a big stick. Your Excellency, Honorable His Excellency Kithure Kindiki, let's all be upstanding to give us a few words of wisdom. Karibu.
morning and please be seated. Each year, the World Bank publishes the World Development Report covering a particular theme. In 2013, the title of the bank's World Development Report was Jobs. This simple title said much about the most pressing economic issue facing the world at that time, and a problem that remains current today as it was 10 years ago. The number of people who are unemployed and the length of time they remain unemployed is rising. The World Bank has put the unemployment rate for Kenya at 5.7% in 2024. In view of these statistics, reducing unemployment is arguably the single most important economic objective of the present moment. As we conclude this inaugural Jamhuri National Job Fair 2024, I am grateful to all who came up with this theme and conceptualized the hosting of a national consultation on the question of employment and job creation. I want to pay great tribute to Minister for Labor, Dr. Alfred Mutua, the wonderful team of senior government officials, principal secretaries, Mwadime, Principal Secretary Roslyn Jogu, Principal Secretary Esther Moria, and all the heads of the various agencies of the government of Kenya. And in a particular way, I pay great tribute on this occasion to His Excellency, the Ambassador of Qatar to the Republic of Kenya, who have facilitated the outcome we celebrate today. Thank you very much. And I want all of you to know, and the teams that have worked with you, and all the partners, that what you're doing is not only historic, but goes a long way in solving the crisis of our time, not just in Kenya, but in the world. And that is to find opportunities for young people to earn a living, to work, and to build inclusive economies for our people. I want to appreciate the behind the scenes and the great strategic and operational support offered to this program by a young man called Dennis Etumbi, who has always been on the forefront in this national endeavor for many years now. Congratulations to all of you. This event today stands as a testament of our collective commitment as government, private sector, and citizens to address one of the most critical challenges of our time, namely creating sustainable economic opportunities for our people and enhancing household incomes. Through the collective engagements of the last 4 days, we have witnessed the power of collaboration, dialogue, and action in the true spirit of our nation, our heritage and splendor. Ladies and gentlemen, the cornerstone of the Jamhuri Job Fair has been a dialogue on employment creation. The government is committed to job creation through strategic investments in agriculture, manufacturing, green energy, technology, and tourism, among other sectors. We are not merely creating jobs. We are crafting pathways to dignity, self-reliance, and prosperity for every Kenyan. Our job creation strategy is structured like the proverbial three-legged stool: kazi kwa ground, kazi majuu, and kazi mtandaoni. This approach ensures that we create jobs locally, even as we actively engage in creating jobs online and creating an overseas workforce through the Labor Mobility Program. I would like to explain that the Labor Mobility Program is one of the 3 strategic approaches to job creation that the government of Kenya is undertaking. The first strategic approach is to create jobs in Kenya, within Kenya, by expanding the economy and by also partnering with the private sector to absorb as many young people as we can in the public sector and in the private sector. We have a number of labor-intensive programs that are ongoing, that are creating jobs for many young people as we speak within the country. This includes the ongoing affordable housing program opportunities that are ongoing in all the 47 counties of Kenya, the construction of county aggregation and industrial parks in all the 47 counties of Kenya, the construction of economic stimulus market projects across the country. I think we are building about 400 markets, and also other works that are ongoing in various government programs. And there are many opportunities, not just for young people to work in these programs, but also for manufacturers who are in the housing industry, construction industry, to enhance their capacity to absorb a few more people because of increased sales in cement, windows, doors, and everything that goes into the construction industry. Other than that, we have the Climate Works program, which is allowing young people to get jobs in our climate change and ecosystem restoration program, which has begun in Nairobi with about 20,000 young people and will be expanded to 40,000 within Nairobi and then to other parts of the country in the coming months. The second strategy, ladies and gentlemen, is kazi mtandaoni. And even before I talk about kazi mtandaoni, it is important again to remind us that within the kazi kwa ground, other than in the construction industry, as I have explained, we continue also to absorb young people and workers in the public sector. In the last 2 years alone, we have employed 76,000 teachers, a historic high by any administration in 2 years. We have also employed thousands of others in the Kenya Defense Forces, the National Police Service, in ministries, departments, and agencies within the public sector. Others have been absorbed in the private sector as the economy continues to recover. So we are creating jobs in Kenya. And that program of kazi kwa ground must continue in earnest in the new year, and we are going to create more and more opportunities here in Kenya, even as we continue expanding our economy. I want to say We've come from a very difficult economic situation. In the last 2 years, the macroeconomic indicators in many parts of the world were looking not so good, including for Kenya, as a result of the 2 years of COVID between 2020 and 2021, when the economy of the country and many other parts of the world were closed down completely. That, with the high interest global rates, global high interest rates, the war in Ukraine, and a few other factors led to the kind of crisis which we came face to face with in 2022 when this administration assumed office. I am pleased to report that the worst is behind us. 2 years down the line, by the grace of God and the hard work of this administration under the stewardship of President William Ruto, the macroeconomic situation has been brought into stability. Today, inflation, which was at 9.7%, is at 2.7%, the lowest in 17 years. Today, the exchange rate, the strength of the Kenyan shilling, which was weakening every day, if not every hour, has been stable from a high of nearly 170 to a stable 127, 129 for the last almost 1 year. Today, the prices of fuel have been stable and decreasing every month. Today, the prices of essential commodities, foodstuffs, are reducing, especially maize flour and other staple foods. And therefore, the macroeconomic situation looks good. Not to forget, in the same vein, that the interest rates for the middle class who are looking for money to expand their businesses are going down every day, every month. From a high 15.5% a year ago, today we are talking about 11.25%, which is a record decrease in so many years. So the macroeconomic situation is under control. What remains in the months and days ahead is to strengthen the microeconomic situation in our country, to provide more jobs to our people, and enhance incomes at household level. And that is the work that lies ahead of us in the next 3 years. Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, in order to meet this aspiration, and before I talk about that, I also need to mention that is the Kazi Kwa Ground program. We also have Kazi Mtandaoni program, which is creating online jobs, digital jobs. How are we doing this? We are constructing 1,450 ICT hubs, one in every ward in Kenya. Today, 272 of these spread across the country are already operational. And young people are accessing digital jobs as content creators, digital jobs as software developers, digital jobs within the business processing, outsourcing, and many other opportunities through online opportunities. Other than the Kazi Mtandaoni, Kazi Maju, which brings us here today. And Kazi Maju complements all these approaches that I've already illustrated. In the Kazi Maju, we are saying in a globalized world, it really doesn't matter where you find a job. You can find a job here in Nairobi. You can find a job virtually through your computer and your phone. But you can also find a job in a friendly country like Qatar or many other countries that are increasingly opening up their nations for workers from Kenya. It really doesn't matter. The same way someone born in Garissa can come and work in Nairobi is the same way somebody born in Machakos can find a job in Qatar, in Doha. And therefore we need to explain that Kazi Maju is not a migration program. It needs to be clarified. Kazi Maju is a labor mobility program to assist workers to access jobs outside Kenya. They remain patriotic, they love their country, and the opportunities provided by our friends, including Qatar, are opportunities for them to go and work, and we pray that they will stay there, obey the laws of Qatar, and be able to create friendships and networks in that country. But we are not sending them away. We are asking them to invest in Kenya, and they are always free to come back home at whatever point. Once they get skills, once they invest enough, they are always able to come back. We could keep on sending more and more. So this is about labor mobility. It's not about migration. In order to meet this aspiration, we recognize the need for structuring our training to meet local demand, even as we prepare labor for the international market. Our education system, now going through reforms, is to keep up with the trends in the industry. The traditional job market has changed. Schools that have been producing graduates who are less useful to industry are now under reorganization to align with industry needs. Educationists and industry stakeholders now have the opportunity to create strong partnerships to design a better balanced mix. It will now be possible to keep abreast with the latest technologies and trends so that we can increase the chances of youths finding opportunities. We are also laying emphasis on recognition of prior learning under the Recognition of Prior Learning Program. Under this program, skilled Kenyans who have no certificates are being recognized and issued with certificates by government accredited institutions to arm them in their search for jobs. There are people who have prior learning as masons, carpenters, as plumbers, and we are working now with our TVET institutions and other training institutions to recognize some of these skills and accredit them based on global and internationally accepted standards in the industry. The government is focusing on vocational and technical education as a core strategic agenda. Through this approach, we are ensuring that our youth are not just employable, but thrive in an increasingly competitive global market. The success stories achieved so far in this space are living proof of what is possible when talent meets opportunity. So far, over 6,000 skilled workers have been certified under the Recognition of Prior Learning Program. 6,170 coxswains have been trained. 272 ICT hubs across Kenya have been set up to establish a platform for digital jobs, such as content creators and software development. Through industrial-based attachments, we have secured the training of farm hands and farm managers and built a strong constituency of certified masons, plumbers, and carpenters through the affordable housing program and other construction works. This initiative is a promise to every Kenyan worker that your government will stand by you, from equipping you with the right skills to protecting your rights wherever you go to provide labor in service to self and country. The future is bright. To the youth, the future is yours to shape. Take full advantage of the opportunities provided through the various initiatives I have illustrated, vocational training programs, and government-backed platforms. Your energy and innovation are Kenya's greatest assets. To the private sector, we urge you to intensify your engagement in job creation especially in emerging sectors like technology, agribusiness, and the creative economy. Together, let us build ecosystems that nurture dreams and deliver results. The government of Kenya remains steadfast in its mission to foster an inclusive economy where every citizen has the opportunity to contribute and succeed. I thank you all for your active participation, innovative ideas, and unwavering commitment to this shared journey. As we leave this fair, let us carry forward the vision of a Kenya where every young person has a chance to thrive, where businesses flourish, and where our creative industries shine brightly on the global stage. Together, let us continue building a Kenya that works for all. Mabibi na mabwana, nimefurahi kufika hapa siku ya leo. Siku ya leo tunasherekea vijana wetu ambao wataanza kusafiri kutoka nchini kwenda mji wa Doha kule Qatar. Kutoka leo mpaka wikendi hii, vijana 300 wa kwanza wataanza safari zao kuelekea Doha kupitia mswada wa nchi rafiki ya Kenya ya Qatar, ambayo imefungua taifa lao kwa wafanyakazi kutoka nchi yetu ya Kenya. Tunashukuru sana na tunasema hii ni njia moja ya njia 3 ambazo serikali inatumia kupatia vijana wetu ajira na kupatia watu wa Kenya matumaini ya kiuchumi, ili nchi yetu iwe nchi sawa na nchi ambao wale ambao hawana kazi ni wachache, na ikiwezekana kila mtu katika taifa letu awe na ajira. Njia ya kwanza ni kuhakikisha kwamba tunabuni nafasi za kazi hapa nchini kupitia wale ambao tunaendelea kuajiri katika idara ya umma ama sekta ya umma, wafanyikazi kama wafanyikazi wa umma, kama polisi, wanajeshi na wafanyikazi wa wizara mbalimbali katika taifa letu la Kenya na katika magatuzi yetu. Lakini vile vile kuna wale wanapata kazi katika sekta ya kibinafsi, na tunapongeza sekta ya kibinafsi na tunaahidi sekta ya kibinafsi ya kwamba tutaendelea kupanua uchumi wetu ili mpate biashara zenu zikue, muweze kuajiri Wakenya zaidi katika biashara zenu. Kwa hivyo tunaendelea kubuni nafasi hapa nchini, lakini vile vile tunaendelea kubuni nafasi katika mitandao, nafasi za kazi. Vijana wengi siku ya leo, sio Kenya pekee, kote duniani wanafanya kazi za kimitandao, na ndiposa tunajenga vituo 1450 katika Jamhuri ya Kenya. Kati ya hiyo idadi, vituo 272 viko tayari na vinatumika, na vijana wengi wameanza kupata kazi za kimitandao. Sehemu ya 3 na ya mwisho katika pembe 3 za serikali hii za kubuni nafasi za kazi ni kupeleka Wakenya wale wanataka na wanapata nafasi katika nchi ambazo ni rafiki na nchi ya Kenya, waende pale wafanye kazi, wapate hela. Hiyo hela wasaidie jamii zao, wawekeze katika nchi yetu, na wakipata hela ya kutosha ama wakipata ujuzi wa kutosha, wako na uhuru kurudi nyumbani. Kwa hivyo sisi hawa vijana wetu hatuwafukuzi Kenya, ni kazi tu wameenda. Kama vile mtu anaweza kuwa ametoka Garissa apate kazi Nairobi, lakini yeye kwao nyumbani ni Garissa. Kama vile tunasema siku ya leo, vijana ambao wamepata kazi, bado nyinyi ni wa Kenya, lakini tumewapatia kazi pale na ni masaa 4-5 tu kama unataka kurudi Kenya. This is your country, you are always welcome. We want also, tunataka pia kusema ya kwamba tuna mpango wa kutambua vipawa vya wale ambao ni wafanyakazi hawakufanikiwa kwenda shule, lakini wako na ujuzi Wengi wao wako katika sekta ya jua kali, wanajua umekaniki, wanajua kazi ya mambo ya shamba, wanajua udreva, wanajua mambo mengi, wana ujuzi lakini hawana cheti. Tuko na mpango wa kuwapatia hao vyeti ili pia wapate nafasi ya kazi. Kwa hivyo siku ya leo mimi nafurahi sana. Naomba Wakenya waunge mkono vijana wetu ambao wanaenda ng'ambo. Tuwaombee na pia tuombee nchi zetu marafiki ambao wanatupatia nafasi kama hizi. Nchi ya Qatar imesema kwa mfano iko na nafasi ya zaidi ya 8,000 za watu wetu ya Kenya. Nchi moja tu, na zinaweza hata kuongezeka. Jameni, tusipinge mradi ya Wakenya ambao hawana kazi na wamepata kazi na wanataka kwenda kufanya hiyo kazi, na hatuwafukuzi Kenya. Wewe kama uko na kazi, shukuru Mungu. Kuna mwingine hana kazi. Na sehemu hii tunatumia serikali ni kutafutia vijana wetu kazi mahali popote pale. Ile kazi tunapata hapa, tunapatia vijana wetu. Ile kazi tunapata kule nje, tunapatia vijana wetu. Kazi ambayo tunapata kwa mitandao, tunapatia vijana wetu. Kwa hivyo mimi sitaki kuwachosha sana. Nimeshukuru sana kuwa hapa, na watakia kila laheri. Your Excellency the Ambassador, I was praising your country for supporting Kenya. We don't take it for granted. And this is what friendly relations is all about. It's about action, not talk. It's about practical results. We really appreciate you. Kenyans are very good workers. They are hardworking, law-abiding, well-skilled. They will serve your country well. They will stay well. They will abide by the laws of your country. They will make friendships and networks, and they are always welcome back whenever they want to come home. We have enough people. If you want us to give you people every day, we have enough people, 5.5 million skilled workers who do not have an opportunity today. Kwa hivyo nawashukuru sana, na watakia baraka ya Mwenyezi Mungu kwa niaba ya Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, Mheshimiwa William Ruto, ambaye amenituma hapa. Kwa niaba ya sisi zote tunashukuru. Na sasa it is now my pleasure to officially flag off the first cohort of 300 young people who are going to work in Qatar. Safari njema, Mungu wabariki, mubarikiwe, familia zenu zibarikiwe. We will always be there to support you. Once more, my colleagues, led by CS Mutua, thank you for the good job. Thank you for the partnerships, the friendships, you're going out of your way to make sure that this program works. And at the risk of repeating myself, this is the most consequential program that the government can do to its people. Finding opportunities for young people. You don't know how many families are touched by this event today. You have no idea. So I'm not worried about people are criticizing, and I'm wondering why a Kenyan should criticize a fellow Kenyan who has got a job. So I wish you well, and God bless you. Asante sana. God bless you and keep you.
And now the CS and His Excellency are launching the strategic plan.
So the first strategy is the National Strategy on Skills Development for National Mobility.
Kindly, we can be seated. The rest of us can be seated, kindly.
The second strategy, Your Excellency, is the global labor market strategy that will be projected on the screen. This is a strategy that we developed with my counterpart, the PS diaspora, to guide us as to the markets where opportunities, job opportunities are available in the international labor market. So if it can be projected on the screen, please.
Music.com.